Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Welcome back to the Magnificent Mags channel. As usual, if there's any content that you like, please do like, comment, share and subscribe. I love to interact with you. And also on YouTube, turn on those notifications if you want to get the latest videos uploaded by me. But yes, it's my Arsenal preview. Now, before I get underway, as usual as well, for my partner channels, please continue to like, comment, share and subscribe and turn those notifications on too for my friends at Magpie 24/7, Magpie Ultras and NUSC 360. So let's get underway. So yes, it's Arsenal away tomorrow at the Emirates Stadium. Unfortunately, I won't be there, unlike back on January the 7th when we won 2-0 in the Carabao Cup semi-final first leg. But I will be cheering and watching us at 4:30 tomorrow from home somewhere. And it's a massive chance to go second. Something we haven't done since 1996, 1997. We've done in back-to-back seasons, 96 and 7. I won't go into what happened in 96, we all know. But 97, yeah. We've finished above Arsenal 5 times, and that's the last time we've done so, when we were joint on points on 68, I believe, and we finished ahead of them on goal difference. We had plus 33, they had plus 30. So yeah, we'll go at the Emirates Stadium tomorrow. Boyd, we've beat Chelsea, although they did win last night 1-0 against Man U, and Villa won 2-0 against Spurs. But look, the main thing is, if you put your hope into those two clubs, they've lost 39 games between them this season. So, look, if you put all your hope into them, it's hope what kills you, and you can't believe they were going to get anything. Look, I believe they both played well when I watched it, but at the end of the day, they're always going to lose because they've been so poor this season, and everything, which is their right, is concentrate on the Europa League final. So yeah, Villa and Chelsea have got the points that they needed, but like I said, we're still third. It's in our hands. It's a chance to go second tomorrow. But before I get into this, I just want to go through a few nominations. So firstly, I've got to congratulate Jacob Murphy. He is won the PFA Fans' Player of the Month for April. That's an amazing achievement, and it just is reward for his fantastic season. He's on 12 assists in the Premier League. Only Mo Salah has more. And then Alexander Isak, our brilliant super Swede. He's bagged a reward for hitting 50 Premier League goals, which is some achievement considering how long he's been here, such a short space of time. And he has had his fair share of injuries. And he's currently on 27 goals in all competitions, 23 in the Premier League. Now he's joint with Alan Shearer in third. Can go clear of Shearer into third place if he gets his 24th league goal of the season tomorrow. Although I believe he is carrying a knock and he might get some surgery in the summer, it'll be the best time for him. We want him fit and firing for next season, but he just has one last job to do. And can he get the goals to help get Champions League football? All we need is 3 points and we can go second. And then the other awards, Eddie Howe has got a nomination for Barclays Manager of the Season. Now that is fantastic. It's the third time in 4 seasons since he's been here that he's been nominated for that. And fully deserving too. Look, I would vote for Howe. I know I'm a Toon fan and you could say it's biased. Now, I'm not taking anything away from Arne Slot. He's come into a foreign league. He hasn't had any signings, albeit, yes, it's a ready-built squad from Jurgen Klopp. But to win the league in his first season, and look, you can go, there's no other challengers, but it is a fantastic achievement to do that in your first season. It's an illustrious club he's in. And you know what? Yeah, there might have been other challengers, but you've still got to go out and win the league. So yes, he might win it. But for me, Eddie Howe, no signings in 3 full windows now. If PSR got its own way, well, it has. But if PSR hadn't got its own way, should I say, then we would have sold the likes of Joe Linton, Jacob Murphy, maybe Fabian Schär, Dan Burn. We mightn't even signed him. But you know what? It's created a fairy tale story where he's won our first trophy in 70 years, Eddie Howe. Dan Burn, the mastermind behind that, along with Isak. Jacob Murphy having the season of his life. Eddie Howe to get a nomination for Manager of the Season. And he's got the 4th, ahead of schedule, into a Champions League group of death. And people mock, we're going, oh, Arsenal fans have? You didn't win the Champions League, did you? You went out in the group stage. We got the semis. Yeah, but what did you win? We both haven't won it. So we're still on 0 each. The fact that Eddie Howe got with there, yes, we might have caught some teams by surprise, but the fact he got with there with players like that, who he's improved, he's had to work with what he has. Honestly, it's probably like an engineering marvel, like Lord Armstrong of Newcastle. It's an engineering marvel that he's got this squad moulded together to get fourth and then seventh with the worst injury crisis going. Yes, clubs get injuries, but we had freak injuries last season. To get seventh in 2 cup quarter-finals and only go out to a dodgy decision in Paris when we would have got through to the knockout stages of the old format is a miracle in itself. Because there were freak injuries, 2 back injuries, Callum Wilson's pectoral injury, and then you had a couple of ACLs as well. With the same squad again, Eddie Howe's got we in third, a chance that we could leapfrog Arsenal into second tomorrow. And you know what, just with those injuries last season, when we got actual injuries like muscle injuries through fatigue or repetition of being the same squad going again and again, it's because those freak injuries meant we only had 11, 12, 13 players to choose from last season. And then you're asking those same players to go again and again. And then we had 3 or 4 keepers on the bench at one point. So what Eddie Howe's done, not only in those previous scenes, but now that we could go second tomorrow. Second? It's crazy. Second place. And I've noted it down here. What teams got for prize money. It's only about 2.8 million per league position, but overall this was the prize money in previous seasons. Last season, sorry. Second, 175.5 million. Third, 171 million. Fourth, 162.4 million. Fifth, 164.6 million. I mean, that is unbelievable that that Eddie Howe could get figures like that. And he said as well, which was rare of him, he hasn't come out before and talked about transfers. And Eddie Howe's acknowledged, as I said, he doesn't go into transfers much. But he said, yes, we have been hampered financially with PSR issues in the past. But he's come out and said, we're not hampered them back for this window. And he believes that why shouldn't we be able to strengthen and not lose any key players like an Isak, like a Tonali, like a Bruno. So in all honesty, I think we're going to have a big window, and it's key because it's shown once again the injuries that we've had lately, that our squad is stretched. Now, I know it's a hard ask winning in Arsenal tomorrow. The fact that we've only won there twice. Once was as recently as, like I said, when I was there back in January for the Carabao Cup semi-final first leg. The other one was all the way back in 2010. I believe it was in the November, Andy Carroll's header, when we won 1-0, not long after the Emirates Open in 2007. But our squad is stretched at the moment. Kieran Trippier, Eddie Howe said, is all but out. He had a calf problem. I noted it down as well. He said his words were, Joe Willock, he's leaving the door open for Sunday, but there's a chance for him. Again, like I said, Trippier's probably not available. Calf injury, but it's not big. He'll probably just rest up for the rest of the season. Jamal Lascelles, he played against Celtic B in midweek. Fantastic to see him back. And obviously he was on the bench against Chelsea. We might see him on Sunday, but they mightn't risk him. Again, he said there's been different recovery plans for him and Botman. And then coming to Botman, he took a knock on his knee against Chelsea. Now, Eddie said he's unsure on his availability, but he'll give him every chance. But he's emphasised it's not a serious injury. Because Sven Botman, let's admit it, against Chelsea was absolutely fantastic. It was a colossus. And the game plan worked, playing the 5-2-3 in defence and the wing-backs of Tino and Murphy, all going forward. It was 3-4-3. And then they stepped up to help Sandro and Bruno in midfield. And it's the tactic, like we said, that's worked against Arsenal a couple of times. Now, he mightn't go with it again tomorrow in the basis that, look, you can't try the same tactic over and over because Arteta might have figured something out. So we could see the same formation deployed, but it worked because we had 3 strong centre-halves in Cher, Botman and Byrne. Can I just say with Byrne anyway, I've seen a stat that he's won 30% of Newcastle's aerial duels this season and the most in the Premier League with 130. That's ridiculous, that. But Eddie Howe could deploy that same formation, but we'll see. But it worked, as I was going to say there, because the 3 centre-halves basically were pressed Chelsea high, so it forced them to go along and they just mopped everything up aerially. And it was a shame when we're seeing Botman go off, but again, it was his first start. That's a caveat in a while, so you've got to basically give him that leeway. Now, injury news for Joe Linton again. We had the injections. I thought it might have been a clue that he play against Chelsea. We might surprise Eddie Howe that he plays tomorrow, but will he? No, he's basically said he's working harder than anyone to be fit. but more than likely Joe Linton's season's done, which is a shame because he always rattles Arsenal. He lives in their head rent-free, like we do. I mean, we've had 3 impressive wins against them this season. Now, no team's beaten them 4 times in a season. Now, could we do it? Why not? Like I said, top 5's the main goal out of all this, but you know what? If we could just win there just to see another Arsenal Arteta head loss, honestly, there's nothing better. Like, in the past, I used to think it was Liverpool fans who were the worst. But you know what? They've went up in my estimation. I got them so wrong. Again, it's mostly social media a lot, but again, Liverpool fans have been so gracious, magnanimous after we beat them at Wembley to lift the trophy. But Arsenal fans, they're a mirror image of Arteta, Lego head. He's always moaning. They've always got an excuse for everything. But you know what? Yeah, it is an impressive record against Arsenal, but you have to echo what Eddie Howe said. It can get better because our record this season against the so-called top 6 is we've won 10, lost 3 and drew 2. Those 3 defeats obviously coming at Stamford Bridge that he had in Anfield. The 2 draws are at home to City and Liverpool. So our record's brilliant so far. I mean, that's 66.6% of games we've beat against the so-called top 6, the Sky 6, if you like. So yeah, Eddie Howe could improve on that tomorrow. I believe in he's got 6 wins in 21 games against them. So yeah, we'll see how we do. Now, last night, obviously, we watched with intent to see how Chelsea and Villa would get on in their games against Man U and Spurs, respectively. But look, Man U and Spurs have lost 39 games now between them this season. They played all right, but I wasn't expecting much. So is it any surprise they lost? No, honestly. But the good thing is, the main thing is, we're third, and it's in our hands. So if we don't get Champions League, it's our fault. If we don't get it, we've blown it. So it's no excuses. Even a draw tomorrow would probably do well, because then it means, yes, we still need to beat Everton on the final day of the season. But you've got to remember, Chelsea play Forest. Villa, in all honesty, should be winning at Old Trafford. But yeah, City mid next week still have to go to Bournemouth. Now, that's not a gimme. And yes, Arsenal play Southampton on the last game of the season, but they got a surprising point against City. So yeah, anything can happen. Change on a game-by-game basis. We've seen that. Eddie Howe even said that yesterday. Nothing's done until it's mathematically done. But when it will be done is if we get 3 points tomorrow against these. Arsenal's injury news. I've had to note it down here. They're missing Marino. Remember him? Mikel Merino suspended. Trossard and Rice, they've got thigh injuries. They're supposedly ruled out. Martinelli and Havertz are 50-50. Gabriel Jesus is out with a knee injury, same as Tomiyasu and Gabriel with a thigh. So the only ones they're expecting back are Kai Havertz and Gabriel Martinelli, but they're missing Rice in midfield. That's massive. But our record recently against Arsenal has been fantastic. We've won 5 out of 6 games. Obviously, we've won both legs 2-0 this season in the Carabao Cup semis. We won 1-0 back at St James's Park in November. And then we've won 2-0 3 years ago yesterday, the season where he came in and was stayed up. And then there was the 1-0 where Arsenal argued Willock had let the ball go out to play, but he hadn't, as proven with the shape of a sphere from an upper view. The ball was still in, which led, obviously, Joe Linton's header and then Gordon's goal. So, yeah, the only reverse was 4-1 at the Emirates. And even in that game, we had injuries. We had Karius in goal, and we had a midfield of Longstaff, Bruno and Miley. So, no surprise that Arsenal won that game. But even that, though, you go back to last season when we got 7th, we missed Pope for most of the season. Isak had a couple of injuries and we're missing Botman. So again, that's another credit to Eddie Howe, how he managed to get with 7th. But yeah, going into tomorrow, I know it's tough. We've only won there twice in all competitions in 18 years since the Emirates Open. But you know what? Confidence is high. The players they're missing, even with the players we're missing, I think we can win it. Now, will we play 5-2-3 again, or which converts into a 3-4-3 attacking? We don't know. We'll wait and see. It might depend on Botman. As I said, they could put Kraft in there at right back, and then it could be Lascelles, Burns, Share, and then Tino left back. Or he could go again with Murphy and Tino wing backs, and then if Botman's fit, then it's him, Burn, and Share in there again. But we'll wait and see what happens. But you know what? I'm going to be bold. These games we've got to win. I think when we're 11th game out of 16 against the so-called Big Six this season. So yeah, my predictions for tomorrow. Tough game, but I'm going to be bold and go Newcastle 2, Arsenal 1. I do expect we're to concede, but you know what? I think confidence is high. The players can see Champions League in their sights. And again, they'll know the need to get the win. I know we're going to go to the last game of the season, but you know what? We've been that good this season. Seconds there for the taking. Just get the job done tomorrow. Then it'll be a party atmosphere against Everton next week. Goal scorers, I'm going to go Dan Burn will cap off a brilliant season. He'll win a header against the set-piece Kings. And then we'll get a goal from Alexander Isak to show Arsenal what they're missing because they're never signing him. But anyway, that's it from me for now. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekends, and let's hope we get those 3 points tomorrow to clinch Champions League qualification and go into the final game of the season with home advantage in second place. However, lads, bye for now.